Hey everyone, and welcome. In this Security AI Plus training module, we are going to tackle a huge challenge facing, well, pretty much every organization out there. How do we build and secure AI systems that we can actually trust? Getting your hands on some seriously powerful AI has never, ever been easier. With just a couple of lines of code, a simple API call, boom. You can plug this incredible intelligence into almost anything. The barrier to entry, it's practically on the floor. But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. Building AI, that's the easy part. Building trustworthy AI? Whoa, that is a whole different ballgame. Making sure these incredibly smart systems are also safe, fair, secure, and reliable, well, that's a much, much tougher nut to crack. So that leads us right to the big question for today, right? How do you go from just using AI to actually building AI you can fundamentally deep down trust? And look, this isn't just some techie code level question. We're talking about one of the biggest business and governance challenges of our time. All right, let's get into it. Here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll talk about the AI risk problem. Then, we'll look at responsible AI as the set of controls to manage that risk. After that, we'll see how frameworks put those principles into practice. And we'll wrap up with your path to building truly trustworthy AI. Sound good? Let's go. All right, Section 1, the AI risk problem. Let's start with risk because this is where everything begins. The absolute key to managing AI risk is a total mindset shift. It's not about waiting for a disaster and then cleaning up the mess. No, it's about building systems that prevent harm from happening in the first place. And this quote, this really just nails it. Responsible AI is about preventing harm, not just cleaning it up after incidents. Think about that. Responsible AI isn't your fire extinguisher. It's your fireproof building materials. It's all about proactive, preventive controls that are designed to stop bad things from happening, or at least make them way less severe if they do. Okay, so if we're all about prevention, what do we actually do? What are the controls? Well, that brings us to the real heart of this discussion, the 9 principles of responsible AI. These are the tools enterprises are using to get a handle on risk. So here they are. Let's break them down. These 9 principles, everything from fairness all the way down to awareness training, these are the absolute foundational pillars for any trustworthy AI program. They're not just fuzzy ideas, they are the specific, actionable controls that make responsible AI a real thing. First up is fairness, and this is a big one. It's all about making sure your AI system isn't creating unfair or discriminatory results. Like in hiring or lending. It means you have to actively look for and fix bias. This is so important. It's a core requirement in major regulations like the EU AI Act. Next, we have reliability and safety. Simple concept, huge implications. The AI has to do what it's supposed to do, consistently, without causing harm, especially when the stakes are high. Think self-driving cars or medical devices. This is a massive focus for the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, which is all about rigorous testing. Okay, transparency. This is about fighting the black box problem. You, your users, your regulators, everyone needs to understand what the system is doing, why it's doing it, and what its limits are. And this isn't just a nice to have. The EU AI Act, for example, makes this a straight-up legal requirement for a lot of AI systems. Number 4 is privacy and security. Now, you might think this sounds like classic cybersecurity, and you're right, but with a twist. We're not just protecting the data going in, we have to protect the AI model itself from new kinds of attacks, like prompt injection or model poisoning. This lines up perfectly with big standards like ISO 42001 and, of course, data privacy laws like GDPR. Next up, explainability. Now, this is a close cousin to transparency, but it's more granular. It's about being able to answer the question, why did the AI make that specific decision for this specific case? If you can't answer that, how can you ever trust it or fix it when it's wrong? The NIST framework calls this out as absolutely essential for building trust. All right, inclusiveness. This is so important. It's about making sure your AI works for everyone, not just the majority group it was maybe trained on. We're talking about designing for different languages, cultures, and abilities. The goal is to avoid building tech that leaves people out, a principle that's right at the heart of things like the OECD AI principles. Then we have accountability. And this one is simple but non-negotiable. A human has to be responsible, period. You can't let people blame the algorithm when something goes wrong. That creates a responsibility gap. Frameworks like ISO 42001 are designed specifically to prevent this by making sure there are clearly defined human roles and owners. Number 8, consistency. This is all about process. It means your governance rules, your testing, your deployments, they're all applied the same way every single time for every single model. It's about making your AI operations predictable and repeatable. In fact, a whole standard like ISO 42001 is basically built around creating this kind of consistent management system. And last, but absolutely not least, awareness training. You can have the best policies and the best tech in the world, but they're useless if your people don't get it. You have to train everyone on the risks, the limitations, and the policies. Things like not over-relying on AI or understanding prompt security. This is so critical, it's a key part of the govern function in the NIST framework. Okay, whew. So we have these 9 amazing principles. They're powerful, right? But the next logical question is, how do you actually do this stuff, especially in a big organization? Well, that's where governance frameworks come into the picture. They're the blueprint for turning these principles into action. And if you look at the major players, you kind of see 3 different flavors. You've got the NIST AI RMF, which is a voluntary framework in the US that helps you manage risk. Then there's ISO 42001, which is a global standard for creating a formal management system. And then you have the EU AI Act, which is a straight-up regulation with legally binding rules. 3 different approaches, but they're all aiming for the same thing, trustworthy AI. And this slide really ties it all together beautifully. Think of it like this. The 9 principles are the what. They're your preventative controls. The governance frameworks, like NIST, ISO, or the EU Act, they're the how. They provide the structure, the scaffolding to build those controls into your daily operations. Put them together, and what you get? Secure, compliant, and trustworthy AI. All right, let's wrap this up and bring it all home. As you go out and start building or using AI in your own world, here are the big things you need to remember to build systems that aren't just powerful, but also safe and secure. The main thing to get is that trustworthy AI isn't some feature you just bolt on at the end. It's not a checkbox. It is an active, ongoing process of managing risk. It means using those 9 principles as your core set of preventative controls. It means using those global frameworks as your roadmap. And most importantly, it's all grounded in real human accountability and making sure everyone in the organization is aware. So I'll leave you with this final question to think about. As your organization adopts AI, and let's be real, it will, you have a choice. Are you building an asset or are you building a liability? Because at the end of the day, the only thing that separates the two is trust. So the question is, are you building it on purpose or are you just hoping for the best?